Okay, there's some major findings in the report. I think for this year, for the first time, we focused not only on the level of executive pay, as I think just as in South Africa, as in globally, there is an element of restraint on their pay. But for the first time, there are a couple of other important issues that do come. Some of them are regulatory, for example, pay for performance, and particularly the malus and clawback provisions, where we're seeing expecting conditions in, for example, in incentive plans for these provisions to apply. So, for example, if there's bad performance in the company, there is the provision to be able to come back. More importantly, two other issues, as I said, pay for performance. There's more as better disclosure, what the regulators in the US, for example, are expecting. And in South Africa, we've seen the practice starting to take place, is there's a disclosure of the company's performance, even including their share price, against the increase of the executives' pay. We think it's good disclosure, and I think it does tell the shareholders a lot more. But I think the big focus this year has been a shift from the executive pay to the other spectrum of the pay. So for the first time this year, we spoke last year about the sort of looking at the pay gap. We think that's one measure. It's a good measure of the internal equity. But this year we sort of look at the concept of idea of possibly a living wage. We know the government is looking at implementing a national minimum wage. And in fact, only as of yesterday, the UK decided that they're going to change their national minimum wage to a national living wage. And I think this is following the right steps. The question is, what is a living wage? And I think the focus now is starting to move into the other end and saying, well, how do we calculate the minimum? Living wages should be aspirational, and maybe they should be voluntary. We've got to be careful. National minimum wages tend to be regulatory. So it could also be a barrier to creating employment. And that's a big social issue in South Africa. We've got this massive unemployment. And if we push that minimum wage too high, it could prevent job opportunities becoming available.